Everybody, peace. Welcome to the Sorry About the Basketball Show, wherever have you are listening. We're so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I'm your host, Sean Cottle. And we've got some interesting stories we're going to be covering today, guys. One of those stories being Jewel Lloyd and the Seattle Storm. And the other story we're going to be covering today, guys, is Notre Dame women's basketball. Is there cause for concern within that program for Neil Ivy and the Fighting Irish? So we're not going to waste any time, guys. We're gonna get right into it. But before we get started, if you haven't already, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay up to date on all related content that we post daily. And if you'd like to get exclusive content from us over here at Sorry to Bother You, you can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar, and typing in Sorry to Bother You Show. That being said, guys, let's go and get right into it, shall we? Like I said, some recent news, breaking news coming out of the Seattle Storm organization, and it involves Jewel Lloyd, in which Jewel Lloyd is going to request a trade from the Seattle Storm. This coming off reports of an investigation that took place within the Seattle Storm organization, and in results of a possible reports of workplace misconduct and bullying that was allegedly taking place within the Seattle Storm organization, in terms of coaches and players relationships. So, long story short, there were reports of bullying that took place amongst from the coaches to the players. The WNBA did conduct an investigation on those allegations, and were not able to find any conducive evidence that supported that. And the timing is very strange, to say the least. Many reports, false reports, I believe, came out and saying that Skylar Diggins Smith was the one bullying other players. Those reports only came out skeptically because of Skylar Diggins Smith's reputation stemming from the Phoenix Mercury tenure she had there, in which she had quote unquote issues and bumped heads with Dan Taurasi. So those reports revolving around Skylar Diggins Smith, I believe, are inaccurate. I didn't see any information that validated those reports. And it's very strange that these reports of bullying came out and nothing was recovered from the investigation. But these are strange allegations to stem from nowhere. So it does make you start to question the relationship, not just with the players amongst themselves, but also with coaches and players. For Jewel Lloyd's entire tenure within the Seattle Storm organization, there were never questions or reports of anything to suspect that there was a fracture in the relationship between Jewel Lloyd and the Seattle Storm. So for this to pop up unexpectedly, perhaps not unexpectedly, perhaps expected to some, can come as quite a surprise. For those of you who don't know, Jewel Lloyd is scheduled to be a free agent at the end of the 2025 season, just like most players are, due to the new CBA that will be being put into place after that season. Their other two star players, Nneka Ogwumike, is also under contract still, and like I said, Skylar Diggins Smith is still under contract as well. And with them adding Gabby Williams midway through the season, Seattle was a team that was poised to contend for a championship. They started out really hot. However, they perhaps regressed back to the means towards the end of the season, and they got a tough matchup in the first round against the Las Vegas Aces. But I think Seattle is still a championship team with the pieces they have, and obviously with the additions they'll make in the draft as well. However, with Jewel Lloyd requesting a trade, and I think they will honor that trade, I don't see Seattle being a championship contender anymore. And then I start to question whether they'll blow up house and completely rebuild, or will they still try to contend with the pieces that they do have. Um, these reports are interesting to say the least. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm quite certain that there was something going on within the Seattle Storm organization to constitute Joe Lloyd requesting a trade. Don't want to make any speculations, but there is a reason for why Joe Lloyd requested a trade, and whether it was friction with the entire coaching staff, friction with players, or just not accepting or not liking the new role that she was in with the addition of two stars. That can be difficult for superstar players to have to adjust to go from getting 25 shots a game to getting 17 shots. That can be a huge adjustment, and perhaps that played a factor in it as well. But when the information comes out, we'll report on it. But until then, we won't speculate. We'll just stick with what we know, and that is Joe Lloyd has requested a trade from the Seattle Storm. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. With Joe Lloyd requesting a trade, what does this mean for the Seattle Storm? Are the Seattle Storm still contenders without Joe Lloyd? Let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. But in our next segment, guys, we're going to be discussing whether there's cause for concern with the Notre Dame women's basketball team after their recent performance in the Cayman Islands Invitational. So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back. Alright, everybody, welcome back. In case you missed the first segment of our show, we were discussing the recent reports coming out of Seattle involving Joe Lloyd, in which she requested a trade from the Seattle Storm's organization, what that means for the club, for the organization moving forward, and what were the reasons for that trade. But in this segment, guys, we are going to be discussing whether there's cause for concern with Notre Dame's women's basketball coming off their recent performance in the Cayman Islands Invitational, in which they lost to TCU as well as Utah. After those losses, Notre Dame dropped out of the top 10, where they were previously ranked number 5, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong about that one, you guys can correct me. But what does this mean for Notre Dame's women's basketball? And I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, because I was someone, and I still am someone, that's high on Notre Dame and their talent level. I believe just when it comes to starting five, I believe they have the most talented starting five in all of women's college basketball. I think they have the best backcourt in women's college basketball with Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles. I believe they have the best two-way player in women's college basketball in Sonia Citron. And they have a top 5, I would say top 3 post player in women's college basketball as well, in Maddie Westbelt, who we'll say is hurt right now and has not played yet, but will be ready for ACC play. But watching Notre Dame play in the Cayman Classic, as well as the previous games, there is a bit of cause for concern for me, in which their style of play is not conducive for winning. It doesn't fit their personnel. And I say that because too often the ball is sticking. The ball sticks and does not get rotation, specifically when the ball is in Hidalgo or even Olivia Miles' hand, specifically Hannah Hidalgo. And it can be difficult for a player like Hannah Hidalgo, who as a freshman was given the reins and completely given control of a team, and we saw what she was able to do last year. And so she gained that confidence and saw that what it was like to be the primary option um, on a high level program, and to adjust to having another All American return in the lineup in Olivia Miles. That can be a bit of a transitional phase for someone like Hannah Hidalgo, who was used to having the ball in her hands at all times and not having to play off the ball. That's an adjustment for an announcer to where she has to play off the ball. But what happens is, because both of these players, Hidalgo and Miles, are so talented with the ball in their hands, it starts to become your turn, my turn, as opposed to cohesiveness within the fluidity of the offense. And so you see a lot of times where, players like Prosper and specifically Sonia Citron, who are, really just standing on the wing, waiting to see what Hidalgo or Miles can do with the ball in their hands. And because they're so talented, they're still creating great opportunities, not just for themselves, but for their teammates. It still makes it easier for the defense to defend because there's not enough movement, rotations from wing to wing. And so because there's no rotation from wing to wing, on the defense gets to stay and help, and you don't create mismatches. Uh, you don't create mismatches by keeping the ball in one spot. And so, you don't force the defense to move, and you don't force the defense to get lost and help side rotations. And Notre Dame is not creating those opportunities because it's sticking. The ball's sticking in one spot. And if Notre Dame wants to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament, they have to fix the offense. And when I say fix it, and there needs to be an emphasis on getting the ball up the court sooner, which can be difficult when you have talented guards because they're so good with the ball in their hands. It's hard for them to get it up. But the sooner you get that pass up the court, the sooner you'll get it back. And I believe that's what Neil Ivey needs to preach to Hidalgo and Miles. And the sooner you get it up, the sooner you get it back. But also, the sooner you make that pass across the wing, the sooner you'll get it back on the opposite wing as well. So just getting more fluidity, more movement within the offense, because I believe it's going to create easier scoring opportunities, not just for Hidalgo and Miles, but also for Citron. And if you get Citron going and you get her attacking early, like I said, she's running the wing, you get up to her early and she's attacking, creates easier scoring opportunities for herself, but also for Hidalgo and Miles as well, because that's just one more threat that the defense has to worry about. But now, with the way the offense has been being played early on in the season, defenses aren't really too concerned with Sonia Citron. And Citron's going to be the top 7 pick in the draft next year. Based on what I've seen from mock drafts. And the sooner you make players like Citron and Maddie Westbell when she returns threats, the easier it becomes for Miles and Hidalgo, because now you can't double off those screens. You can't shift the help over to Hidalgo. You have to be honest because you have other scoring threats. So getting more fluidity, more ball movement, specifically early on in transition, and also more rotations in the half court. Not relying entirely on ball screens, but more pin downs and more false movements. That's going to help Notre Dame be more successful and be more efficient in their offense. And once that happens, then we can start to see Notre Dame play at their full potential. But right now, the offensive end is what is a concern for me. Right now, they're so talented; they can score, at a high clip. But when they start playing talented teams like a TCU, who's now ranked in the top 10, and a Utah who plays tremendous defense, and start playing these other teams, top teams in the ACC when they get in conference play, this could be an issue for them. So getting more fluidity within the offense, more rotations, not allowing the ball to stick, that is going to lead to more efficiency for the offense, for Notre Dame. But players have to be willing to sacrifice as well. Are you willing to go from getting 10 shots a game to 7 shots a game? Or are you willing to go from getting 8 assists a game to 5 assists a game? you have to be willing to sacrifice that portion of yourself for the betterment of your program, for the team. Isaiah Thomas had a great quote in the Bad Boys documentary he did on Pistons about 10 years ago, in which he said that when Joe Dumars came to the organization, beforehand he was averaging 22, 23 points a game, but he said that when he learned to sacrifice from going from 22, 23 points to 19, 20, it made the Pistons a much better program, much better organization, much better team, and that's what led them to winning 2 championships in a row. When he realized that he had great talent around him, he had to use that talent so they could get more touches. So hopefully Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo can take a page out of Isaiah Thomas's book, in which you sacrifice, as a point guard, a portion of yourself so the team can improve. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it. But with that being said, guys, that is it for our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful show. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay up to date on all related content. And we'll be back again, guys, same time tomorrow with our college football preview show. And until then, guys, continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions, and